So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video on camera edition. Finally back on camera. Hope you guys are happy to see me. I have a new filming setup, but it's in my basement and I'm right here by the furnace and it goes on and off. So I apologize in advance if there's like a little bit of audio quality issues. I will try to get that out in post editing, but we finally have like a little setup, a nice little new backdrop and everything. I will definitely like spruce it up more when I like move out of my parents' house because you know I'm 27 still living here like a teenager. But yeah, I have a new setup. I'm back on camera. I think I can film a lot more on camera videos now that I like have my own little space down here. So definitely stay tuned to that. Now, a side note, as you all know, I am hosting a meet and greet in Philly, which is my hometown, my city. We have to sell some tickets, y'all. So if you're in Philly, please make sure that you buy a ticket, come out. It's going to be on Saturday, September 21st. I'm actually discounting the tickets because we did have a venue change with the after party. So the after party and the meet and greet is actually going to be at the same location. So I'm not going to charge y'all to come back to the same place that you just were at. So if you were like, oh, I want to come, but I can't afford it, or I need a discount, well, Christmas is coming early. So if you're interested, please check out the pinned comment down below for the link, and I hope to see you all there. On the docket tonight, we are going to be talking about the female rap albums of pretty much this year, some of the top ones that people have been looking forward to, or they ranted or raved about them, and that is Ice Spice, Latto, Megan Thee Stallion, and JT. These four ladies have put out projects that I was highly anticipating, and the reason why it took me so long is because honestly I was just looking forward to Ice Spice's project because it's like it was her debut album, and then also JT because it was her debut album as a solo artist. I mean, I think it's just an EP, but it might be an album, correct me if I'm wrong. And then when I realized like, okay, the girls are dropping, I'm like, I gotta wait and just kind of look at everybody's stuff individually, look at it, but then also look at it overall. And then I think with everybody putting out albums, it's kind of given like this updated clarity on where rap music, but specifically female rap music, is in 2024. So I'm going to give you guys an in-depth review of all of the albums, each and every song, and then talk about the current state of female rap in its entirety as of this year. In female rap in 2024, I think there's a lot of nuances with like what we've already seen, what we've been seeing, and then what it is. For some of these ladies, I feel like we anticipated what they were going to drop because of course it was either their first time putting out a project, or maybe their build up or their hype or what's going on in their careers is showing us like an interest in what they're doing. Some people are veterans, some people are rookies, but they all add to what the female rap culture is, whether it's sexuality, whether it's having a lack of focus on bars, whether it's collaborations that are all the time, whether it's putting out music so much that we can barely keep up with the consumption. I just think that female rap is so different than what I thought it was going to be this year, and also different in a way that we have new contenders coming in, sort of kinda, but at the same time the old contenders are like there, but they're barely there. But we'll get to that in the end. So I've broken this video down into what, 5 main talking points, going through each and every album and then putting it all together in the end. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So we're gonna start off with Ice Spice because I know most of y'all want to hear about Ice Spice. She was kind of the most talked about when it came to albums that were coming out this year. Ice Spice dropped her project called Y2K. Ice Spice was born in 2000, so she decided to kind of do a play on that and drop Y2K. Now, off the rip, I don't think the album was really like Y2K coded. Like, it didn't really give me that vibe. I think the album cover kind of gave that. Like, it's kind of like urban and kind of rugged in a way. But I think the songs, the rollout, the promotion, it didn't really give Y2K. But I was anticipating this one more than anything, so let's get into it. So she starts off with her song Fat Butt. I like the flow and I like the bars, but I think her voice is just boring. And the thing is, in her recent beef with her friend Cleo Trappa, she literally said that Ice Spice is boring. So it was kind of like no surprise that she's kind of like monotone. Like either she's in this like low voice that she's been doing for a while, and I think it's okay to use the same things that made you pop, but the thing is, at some point in your career, people are going to ask for versatility, so you got to switch it up. The song was definitely Nicki coded from the first I was like, oh, we about to go Nicki on us. And I think part of it is like, okay, y'all are from New York, so like part of it is going to sound similar, but you know when you're doing somebody's mannerisms or their ad-libs, or you're coming on a beat that kind of sounds like them, it is going to sound like them. My biggest critique is that I think the hook is garbage, honestly. Like, she could have did more with that, like fat butt and a fat butt and a fat butt. I was just hoping for a little bit more, but honestly, the song didn't do much for me. I think it was but it didn't do much for me. The next song is we can't cuss on YouTube. To me, this is a Princess Diana remake. Like if you listen to Princess Diana and then play Oh-ish right after, it's gonna be very similar. But I'm not mad at someone for having songs that are similar to other hits. You just have to pick and choose how often you're gonna do it. I will say I thought the hook was cool on this one. Like I was like, okay, I get it. But the Travis Scott feature was kind of unneeded and unnecessary. I don't get why they're trying to like push Travis Scott, not really heavily, but like why? Like we left you where you were at. Her next song is Papa or Popa. I think it's Popa actually. Now I will say like the beat was fire. The beat was fire. It was almost like ATL drill. Like you have like that trumpet, but you kind of had that drill sound that she's known for. So I did love the beat. And honestly, the bars really weren't that bad. Like I was like, okay. I caught a few little bars that was cool. Like she did have some like really good one-liners. There was one in particular where she said, tell her drop a pin, I went bowling. I was like, okay, I caught that. That was a cool little bar. I got you. Then there was another one where she said, bees can't see me for nothing like Sia. I like that one. That was hard. But at the same time, again, it was very Nicki coded. And the thing is, now that Ice Spice and Nicki aren't cool, I just find it crazy that she dropped this project with a lot of the critiques or just people commenting like, okay, this kind of sounds like Nicki. Because I'm not gonna lie, I went into it very unbiased, and when I listened to it, I was like, nah, you trying to be Nicki with this one. And this is not even coming as a Nicki Minaj music fan. This is just what I heard on the track. Especially the line where she said, bad bees, I'm your leader. Like, come on now, that is like verbatim Nicki verbiage. Her next song is Be Unpacking. I feel like this is a filler song, and let me describe what a filler song is because I'm going to use it a lot in this video. A filler song is something that's like there for the numbers of the content of the project. Like maybe it's not like your biggest hit, maybe it's not like your best work, but it fits the theme, it fits the mold. It's just there as another song, and all of these artists have them, and I'm going to call out which ones that I feel were filler songs. I don't really feel like there was that much effort with Be Unpacking. Like I just didn't really feel attracted to her verse. Like now here comes the sound, so if y'all hear it, I'm gonna try and edit it out. Please bear with me. Now Gunna's verse was like, okay, I like Gunna's verse. It's typical Gunna, but you can tell that Gunna and her did not record their verses together. Like you can tell there was like the way how it was mixed. I don't know. I like how Gunna's was mixed, but I didn't like the way how hers was. I just didn't really care for the song. Now this next song was called Plenty Sun. I really could have heard Glorilla on this. Like if Glorilla featured, I don't know who's cool with who in the industry because for some reason it seems like everybody got beef or they're choosing sides. If I ever blow up to be a huge rapper, I'm not doing none of that. We here to do business and business only. I don't have to be friends with any of y'all. Most of them, if I knew them in real life, I wouldn't be friends with you anyway. Like just saying. So I think this one was also Nicki coded. Like she had at least 3 to 4 songs that were like very Nicki coded, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this girl. People were already saying that Ice Spice is talentless. They were already saying that, you know, it's her looks and her antics that got her to where she is, which I do agree. I said that from the beginning. I got dragged. Now people believe me. Like, give me my edges back, please. Like, please. I thought it was Nicki coded, and I think the thing is, when you aren't really original and your career is kind of like manufactured for you, you're gonna do things that people find either attractive or popular or even controversial in a way to keep your name trending. Because I think the whole body of the album was, we'll get to that. Now the next song was Did It First. I actually liked the Did It First song. I didn't think it was really that bad. I think the rollout was. I think the whole entire like relationship between her and Central C was very messy. The song is cool. His verse is great. Her verse is even cool because it's on theme. Like I get the point of what they're trying to do, but the rollout is what made people kind of like not like it. But I don't think it's a bad song overall. The beat is a classic, like, you know, Jersey club beat, and I'm from the PBJ, and that is Philly, Baltimore, and Jersey club music. If you from the PBJ, make some noise in the comments because that essentially means that you grew up on that. That's that club music. People want to call it drill. That's not drill. Like, don't play with me. That is not drill. That is club music, house music, okay? Some of that stuff started in Chicago, and then Baltimore was like the originator of like where it came from in terms of the East Coast. Jersey just made it the most popular. Philly, we came in there too, but there was a whole era of club music or party music, and I feel like you gotta be from either the PBJ or the East Coast to just know that. People want to call it drill. It's not drill. It's Jersey club. And every single artist, including every artist I'm going to talk about, and a lot of artists that are like mainstream, they have that sound. It's kind of like when Detroit music became like super popular. Now everybody has a Detroit beat, everybody's on a Detroit song. That's where it is. Once Lil Uzi dropped that I Just Wanna Rock and it went super duper big, now everybody has a song like that. For example, the song that the baby has, I Don't Know If I Can Dance to It. I don't even know the damn song. I Don't Know If I Can Dance. What is the damn song? I Don't Know If You Can Dance, You Can Leave, Make the Ghetto Bees Put Their Hands on Their Knees, something like that. That song Jersey Club. There's a lot of songs like that. Even Nicki Minaj's Everybody. Everybody. It's literally Jersey Club. That's what it is. But anyway, moving on. I do think the messiness of the rollout made people go listen to it. That's the only reason why I went to listen to it. I didn't think it was bad. I just feel like if he's in a relationship and Ice Spice is in a relationship, then what was the point of doing all of that? Like, it just became messy and it made it unlikable, but I do still think the song was good. Next up was her song BB Belt. I also think this was a filler song, but it is interesting because I did note that she said crash outs and they going on rants. And that's crazy because she used her lyrics to talk about her ex-friend Cleopatra, saying that, you know, crash outs and they going on rants, people crashing out, they going on rants. So it's just like interesting to me. I don't know, but it was a filler song all in all. There was also another line in there where she said, light skin, but I'm black, you can tell by my hair. And I feel like Ice Spice might have some identity issues because it's kind of like when she said to Cleo, oh, you could at least said I was black. Babe, you're either black or you're not. That there's no like, oh, somebody has to force it or vouch for you. You're either black or you're not. And the thing is, Ice Spice does try to win over like that black audience. And it's because she's in hip hop and she's urban, but her being palatable keeps her in that audience whether she is or isn't. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, the black audience here in the States or just worldwide, but here in the States, especially like in hip hop and rap music, we tend to like prioritize people who look black but also don't look black. And that's how she kind of like elevated her career. So I don't know, she had some very interesting lines in that song. The next song is Think You the Ish, aka Fart. The beat carried the song. The beat is hard. That beat drop is like, think you the ish? What? You're not even the fart. I be going hard, whatever the joint is. But it's like, that's just the only thing that carried because the lyrics are trash. Her and her session with farts and poops and diapers and depends and incontinence. It's just crazy to me that she was able to like monetize that. My thing is, I get it as a bar. Like, I really do. I think it's creative, it's funny, but like, it's not something that you're gonna have to keep doing because eventually it's gonna be like kind of weird. Like you're making a pun out of poop. That's weird. Her next song was Give Me a Light, which I talked about this before when it first came out. I think it was a waste of a sample. The sample is actually really good. And I feel like she could have done a lot with this if she just decided to like detach from her usual self and just give us something else. I would have done something more like the original song. Like, okay, you can do drill, but for this one, you could have gave us something like more rhythm, more soca, more Caribbean type of thing. Like, granted, maybe you would have got called out for cultural appropriation, but you're from New York. Like, it's a melting pot of so many different things. You could have had a feature on there. I don't know. Like, I feel like she could have went a super different route. The video is cute though, maybe because I like pink, but I just feel like it was a waste of a sample. She could have done something else. The next song is called TTYL. I think this is also a filler song, but she did say some interesting things on the song. I don't think the song was really memorable, but I did catch a lot of the lyrics that were very interesting. She did say that she has no friends, and it's like, okay, well, at least you weren't lying because that is what people say about her. She don't have no friends. But I just feel like Ice Spice just goes in the booth and she like recites pretty baddie scripture. You just go in there and say, I'm a badass, this dude wants me, I'll take your man, I'm cute, I buzz down my wrist, I got money. It just gives me like baddie Instagram captions, scriptures, and then she says like that's all she says. I feel like, okay, TTYL, it makes sense as to why that was the last song on the album, but like overall I was like, okay, that's it. Like, it was only 10 songs while all the other ladies had more than 10 songs on their album. Now, I'm gonna read my notes, but overall, I'm rating her album a D. The reason why I give it a D is because I feel like there was more hype than the actual quality of the album. I don't feel like Ice Spice was versatile at all, not even with one song. While all the other ladies, like, we have an expectation for them as like these sexual rappers or these sirens, these icons in their own right, but they gave me versatility in almost everything that they did, which is why their projects are rated higher. Ice Spice decided to rely on what has always worked for her at a time where people were demanding that she had more versatility and she did something else. And I feel like she kind of neglected that and said like, oh, well, I'm gonna get by on doing what I always do. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I get that mindset, but when people are really demanding for you to change, you gotta do something else. And she didn't do that. So I give her a D because I don't feel like she was versatile. To me, all the songs sounded the same. I don't think there was anything that really stood out. And for the reason that I felt like her album was very Nicki coded. Like, it could have been anybody. It could have been Cardi coded. It could have been Meg coded. Hell, it could have been Queen Latifah coded. It was just the fact that it didn't come off original to me. And I feel like she relies heavy on the antics that she always did. And for it to be a debut album, I guess I expected more, but at the same time, like, I didn't, because it's like, it's Ice Spice. So what can I expect? To me, it was a D. But reading my notes, I said she didn't have any range, and that's what she doesn't get. People are tired of her being one-sided. And she knew that before this came out. I don't know when the album was finished, but she knew that before it came out. So I would have thought that she went back and maybe added some more songs or did a few more features. And that's another thing. The features that she had, Central C, okay, he's cool. He's actually a really good rapper despite the messiness. But Travis Scott, you didn't collaborate with no female artists, nothing. That goes to show that there's something lacking in Ice Spice with how she wants to like share her platform, which we all know she doesn't, because it seems like she's very self-centered. It just doesn't give authenticity. And again, I get it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But if I want to play devil's advocate, somebody like Sexy Red, she makes the same songs too, and she continues to have hits, but it makes sense for her brand. Ice Spice, this kind of makes sense for her brand, but for some reason, Sexy Red is just more likable, even though I don't really like either one of them. Even with Soulja Boy, I mean, no, Soulja Boy was versatile. Like, okay, he was a party, fun type of turn up person, similar to a Sexy Red or an Ice Spice, but Soulja Boy still has some love songs in there. He had Blowing Me Kisses, which was like one of my favorite songs. That was my favorite song. And then he had Kiss Me Through the Phone. Like, Ice, where's your Kiss Me Through the Phone? Where's your, like, even with your Pink Pantheress song, like something like that, I wish I would have heard from her. Something just a little bit more cutesy, very classy, demure, you know, that nonsense. Something else would have just allowed me to like boost it up, but overall, it's a D. And that's generous. The last thing I'm gonna say is I don't really think she needs to drop another album. She probably will. I think she should just keep dropping singles. That's if people still want to take a liking to her, because I know she did lose millions of monthly listeners, and she lost, like, last I checked, she lost like 600,000 followers on Instagram. And that's not just because of the album, that's because of the personal situation with her and her ex-friend. So I don't know. A D album, your friend calling you out, losing monthly listeners, it's not looking that good for Ice Spice. Now, let's move on to Latto, which is Ice Spice's arch nemesis. I just feel like from jump, people could say whatever they want. Latto has always been the better artist, and I've said that. Like, even when I compared Sunday Service and Thank You to Ish farts, I was like, they need a rematch, but Sunday Service ended up growing on me, and I actually do like the song. With Latto's album, I didn't expect it, but I also didn't expect it to actually give more than what it gave, so let's get into that. So the album is called S.H.I.T, which stands for Sugar Honey Iced Tea, and I think that is, you know, a dig back at Ice Spice saying, thank you to Ish, you're not even a fart, and she's just like, okay, I'm gonna name it Ish, but it stands for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. It's very themed around being a Georgia girl, being from Georgia, being from Atlanta in particular, and I think the songs and the theme of the album definitely showed that. I would have wanted for Latto to do a lot more visuals, music videos with the album. We did get one for the Georgia Girl song, or like the intro song, which I thought was like kind of cute, but at the same time, like, she could have done a little bit more. I'm not sure what's going on with the lack of visuals for a lot of artists these days. I know it takes a lot to come out with them, because for me, part of the reason why I haven't even dropped certain music is because I wanted music videos to come out with them, but there has been hype, so I'm like, let's just drop the songs and then come out with the visuals later. So maybe that's that, but I haven't really gotten a follow-up from a lot of artists. Like even Nicki, she dropped Pink Friday too, but we didn't really get any visuals, and I'm like, what is going on? I wanted to see something. So the first song was called Georgia Peach, and I feel like the beat was okay. Like, I was expecting it to kind of build up and have a little bit more, but it kind of stayed the same the whole time. I do think there was more to do with the beat. Like, maybe that's not on her, that's on the producer, but I think there could have been a little bit more to do with it. I do love her NBA bars. There was one that she said, NBA dudes going Iverson over my sister, they missing practice. I grew up a Sixers fan, so I know all about that. And she does do a lot of like NBA bars. And I worked in sports in college, and I am a sports fan. You know, my Eagles just won the other night, so I like to throw those in there too. In my song Ballin', I said, fly like an eagle, Jason Peters on the lineman, which he won a lot of Pro Bowls for the Eagles. But that notwithstanding, I appreciate those bars because I feel like male rappers do it a lot. So I like when the female rappers do it too. I think the song was cool. Like, it was cool for the Georgia girls. Like, if I was from Georgia, I would be like, ain't nothing like a Georgia girl. It was cool as an intro, especially because it did come with a visual. I think it did open up for the album, which is very heavily based in like Atlanta, Georgia. So the next song was Big Mama. I love Big Mama. I think Big Mama is a hard song. I love how it starts off very slow, very melodic, nice cadence, and then it goes into that trap where we're like, Big Mama, Big Mama, love when he called me Big Mama. Like, I think that switch up, when you can shock your listener, you get like that mouth open effect, and it's like, okay, we're tuned in. So it's a good song in that way. It has shock value. One thing I will say about Big Mama, I think the Big Mama hook is a little too long. I wish she did a second verse during like the trap section. That would have ate so much harder. Like, but she's going Big Mama, Big Mama for like way too long. Like, Latto, I'm gonna need you to remix that one. Remix Big Mama, give us another verse. Yeah, I'll be okay with that. Her next song is called Blicksome. I think this is a filler song. To me, it doesn't resonate with me. It makes sense for the theme. You're talking about like the hood dudes in Atlanta, maybe from College Park or Decatur. Say your boyfriend's from Atlanta without saying your boyfriend's from Atlanta. But yeah, it didn't like resonate with me, but I think it was just a filler song overall. Honestly, it sounded like Sexy Red should have been featured on that song. I actually think that would have been cool. But the last time Latto and Sexy Red were featured on the song, it was trash. So I was like, yeah, leave her off of there. She can't really keep up with you, babe. I do like Latto's storytelling. I think she does like really well with storytelling and doing really well with sensory detail. Like you can kind of like envision the stuff that she's saying. So it's kind of believable, even though I do think Latto literally is a Nunu. Part of her album rollout was like her being Nunu, which if you've seen the movie ATL, which I'm sure most of you have, Nunu was pretending to be like this hood girl, this like urban ghetto girl, when in reality she was probably living somewhere in North Atlanta, and she came from a wealthy family and had a Picasso in her house. Like we can never forget that. And I think that is what Latto really is. Like people have made that comparison, and I felt like I really saw it with this whole thing. Like the projects are good and stuff, but I see why people say like, okay, with Latto it's like kind of hard to believe her because it just doesn't come off authentic for whatever reason. I think the song was kind of catchy. It was a good listen. It's not gonna get a replay from me, but I do think it was on theme for the album. Now her next song was called Settle Down. I do think it was a good beat, good flow, good cadence. It also did have a nice hook. I don't think it's a filler song, but at the same time it's not like a standout song either. I liked it though. I did like the melodic vocals over the hook. Good job, producer and engineer. I don't know who she was throwing shots at though, because she called somebody a lapdog. Was it Cardi? Was it JT? I don't know. Y'all are gonna tell me. I don't know who these girls be beefing with for real, but at least the girls are doing it in the music. They put stuff on wax, so I do like that. Her next song was called Shrimp and Grits. This was also featuring Atlanta rapper Young Nudie. Here comes that sound again, so we gotta play with the audio a little bit. Now this was nasty from the jump. Like when I heard it, I was like, that was nasty just from the first bar. At this point, it does get a little bit repetitive, and I think throughout all of the projects, it does get repetitive. Like all of the women are very overtly sexual. All of the women talk about their poom-pooms and you know how much money they have and how many dudes like them and all the haters. Like the thing is, I don't necessarily mind that in the music, but it becomes a problem when every single song starts to sound the same, where you can't even give me anything else, and then you have the nerve to have all of these songs on your project with at least 5 of them being like different renditions to something else that you've already said. Like, can we just give like 2 at the most, maybe 3 if that's like your thing? But with like at least all of them, I felt like I was listening to the same song over and over again, and then every now and then they threw in something a little bit different, but then it went back to like the same song over and over again. But that's just me. Now the hook was a little bit catchy. She did say, country thick like shrimp and grits, these nakers be Simpson licks. I feel you, babe. And then Young Nudie's verse was a good add-on. I feel like he's a better artist when he's not rapping about freak stuff. Like I know his most popular song is that boom, 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 boom. And she also was on the remix for that, but I feel like he has better music outside of just like the freak songs. But hey, now the next song was called There She Go. This was a Mike Jones sample. I loved Mike Jones back in the day. Mike Jones, who? Mike Jones, who? 281-334-8004. Back then was Didn't Want Me. Now I'm hot, they all on me. I was like, okay, I like this. It was definitely giving Young Nation South Dallas swag. Like I was about to start jigging for a second there. I was just like, hey, work, dip, lean, whatever they used to say. I used to listen to like all types of music and still do. But I do think the beat carried the lyrics for sure. The beat was hard, but the beat carried the lyrics hands down. The like go, 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 that part was like a little head bopper. I was liking that. It probably does hit in the car with your friends. But next one was called Brokey. This one was like I know she tried to like push this song a little bit. She did like a little freestyle, a little live performance, but it gave like freestyle to me. Like it didn't really give like a song. And to me, the lyrics were redundant. I didn't really care for Brokey. Now the next song was H&M, and it literally stands for Hurt and Miserable. And I think the song had potential. It really did. The bridge and the hook is really cute, and the beat is too, but it just fell short for me. But it did have potential though. Now the next song is Copper Cove, which I don't know, maybe that's a place in Atlanta, y'all tell me. Now this was what I was waiting for, like that love song. Like I just wanted to vibe, like be with my man, drink a little bit of wine. Like that's what this song gave me. And then you added Huncho on there. Yes, like that was what I was waiting for. And it kind of came late, like based on the lineup of the album, but at least it came, right? It reminded me of a song on Ciara's Goodies album, but the song is like escaping me. Like I'll have to think of what it is and kind of insert the name. It just reminded me of one of those songs, which it makes sense, you know, that little ATL vibe. It just gave me like a classic ATL little love song. I loved it. And then of course with Huncho, the ladies love him, so he was a great addition as a feature. And I really did love the song because it's actually very relatable. Now the next song is called Ear Candy. I really did like this one too because it featured my favorite, Coco Jones. This one was like kind of for the girls who are in love right now. So I was listening to it and I was like, y'all know I'm a little nutty. This literally was like the versatility that I asked for. Maybe the first half of the album was a little bit more like ghetto ratchet club banger, you know what I'm saying? And then the middle of the album kind of like transitioned into like more melodic, more R&B, more love. And then towards the end, it got a little bit more motivational. But I liked the song. I really did like these two songs back to back together. Now the next song was called Liquor. And I'm not gonna lie, this was a headbanger right here. Like I was like, oh yeah, it's nasty, it's freaky, but I like this song. Like certified headbanger. Her animation was really good. The hook is very smooth, like it's just a vibe. And it's like, even though I don't really drink like that, I do drink wine. It made me want to go get a bottle of Espolòn. Like I was like, okay, I like that. The lyrics were usual, but I did like the vibe. So now the next song was called Squeeze. This is gonna be another like to me, like little shoulder shrug. Just kind of a to me. I think it was supposed to be like a cool pop song, but it just wasn't conclusive enough. I personally would have done it completely different. Like if I could just get the beat myself, I would do it completely different and still keep it pop. And to me, Megan's verse was regular. He did have a few good bars that I took note of. Megan said, I got bars, I ain't never lost service. I like that. And then she said something about pumping on the Jergens. And it made me think of a lyric that I have in one of my songs called Ceremony. Check it out. Body have my niggas frozen, niggas put my picture up and yeah, they go and get the lotion. But I just think the song overall could have been better. I do like Megan and Latto together, but I just need them to come up with like another song that like they just do together that I like more. Cause to me, they haven't had like that hit that I'm waiting for them to have. The next song was called Good to You. I did like the beat on this one. I think her beat selection has always been pretty good. It's a cute song, cute lyrics. I like it. You know, nothing other than I like it. The next song was called Look What You Did. I think it was cool, but this one was a filler song to me. It didn't really like stand out, but you know, just a filler song. I just think it was a filler song with a big feature. Like I know Mariah is on there, but I don't know. It didn't really do much for me. I listened to it. I was just like, okay, next song. Next. Yeah. Now the next song is called Prized Possession. Yes, 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 yes. Let me give her a round of applause. Every girl needs to listen to this song. Like, you want to talk about relatability and female rappers talking about something else, then listen to this song. Because I was like, yes, every girl can relate to this at some point, dealing with some type of relationship or some dude. A lot of us have dealt with everything that was said in that song. The whole time I was listening to it, I was like, yep, I've dealt with that. Oh, yep, I feel that. Yep, I've said that. You know, if you've been through like a little toxic relationship or even something that's kind of like on and off, I just felt it to be very relatable. And I think she really did her thing on that one. Now, the last song was called Shout Out to Me. And this is like a Boss B song. Actually, I'm going to read my notes. And I felt like this was an ode to herself, like motivational to herself. She really does have bars and she really can rap. I said that she really did her big one on this one. I liked her disses as well because she said ice is just water when it melts. And I feel like, yeah, that's how you respond back to somebody with like an actual song, an actual diss, an actual good lyric and like giving it to them. Like Ice Spice is more catchy. Latto is more like, all right, I'm gonna get you with a little bit more than that. I literally said like this last song to me was very conclusive of like the whole album. It was kind of like I said, she was like giving herself a pat on the back and she was like addressing everything in her life. She was talking about her album, her haters, her relationship. And I really had to listen to it twice because I was like, wait a second. She really was kind of vulnerable and I really wanted to hear Latto outside of what we usually hear, but talk about things that are a little bit more personable. And she did that. Honestly, I think she should be proud of herself with that record because it was very conclusive, not only in that song, but just to the whole album. Now, rating Latto's album overall, I did give it an A/B+. And that is simply because I feel like when I'm looking for an album outside of what we see just, you know, visually, I'm looking for conclusive work. I'm looking for, did you give me R&B? Did you give me hip hop? Did you give me boss B? Did you give me motivational? Did you talk about real stuff? The features that you use, just the whole body of work. Latto's last album, 777, was also very good to me, but I feel like she could have had more songs. So I'm glad this time around she did go and get more songs and it played out pretty well. At first I'm like, okay, it's a little bit redundant. We get it, you a boss, you talking your talk, but she did give us R&B. She did give us like relatability, and then she did give us kind of like more motivational towards the end. And that's what I look forward to because it's like, I need to hear that you're more than a one-trick pony, and I think she's proven that. So I give it an A/B+. A-B+ is what I really give it. And like I said in my notes, I want to be able to turn up, get my ratchet out, feel like a gangster, be in love, feel motivated, and cry all in one project. And I really do. But I think overall it was a pretty good project. Now moving on to Megan Thee Stallion's self-titled album called Megan. I also anticipated this because I was not expecting it. So when it came out and it was like really thriving, I was like, oh, okay, Megan's back with some more. You know, Megan Thee Stallion is a really good artist. She is a really good rapper. I do think she is controversial for many reasons. We've already entailed that. But I was looking forward to a new project because I felt like a lot of the stuff that she was coming out with was very much like about her traumas and her controversy. So I wanted to get more to like the Megan that we used to know, or an evolved Megan that was going to give us something else. Not necessarily something new, but just something more than that period of her life where she talked a lot more about how dark and depressed that she was. She still did that on this album, but I think dropping this album was kind of like, okay, next chapter. Let's get into it. Now, her first song is Hiss. This was a banger. We already talked about this. This was the song that went viral. That Megan's Law line literally sent the internet in a frenzy. And I think if you're a Nicki Minaj music fan, you hate this song. But because I am a Nicki Minaj music fan, but I also do like a lot of the female rappers, and I'm just like not biased. I like female rap in general. I will give credit that the song did what it was supposed to do. I like the cadence with the beat. Like I like that little undertone, that dun 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 dun, and how she came on that as well. She really did come back hard. That's all she needed to do, and she came back hard, and she did that with Hiss. Her next song was called Rattle. I liked that. It was catchy. It was just good to me. I don't know if I'll play it again, but like I thought it was cool. Okay, it was cool. Now her next song was called Figaro. This was my favorite song on the whole entire project. I know most people are gonna say they like the song The Star. I don't know the dance, y'all. I just see a little bit on TikTok. But to me, Figaro actually was a really hard song. I liked the hook. It was a headbanger. Like when I'm looking for music that's gonna get me head bobbing, this is what I'm looking for. And I caught the shade. She said, I'm a mother effing brat. I'm not a Barbie. Like that was a good diss. I mean, it was a basic diss, but it's like, okay, you're standing on it. If Nicki says she don't mess with horses like Christopher Reeves, and you say that you're a brat, not a Barbie, you know, y'all gonna go back and forth forever. And I'm gonna be here for both sides of it. Now, you know who would be really good on this song if it's a remix? Cash Doll. Tell me Cash Doll wouldn't go crazy on that song. She really would. This was my favorite song on the album, like I said, and I feel like the hook was hard. It did build up for me, and I got more into it as the song went on. Now the next song was called Where Them Girls At. This was more of like a club hit, and it definitely sounded like something like Beat King should have been on. RIP to him. And I know he made a statement saying that he wanted to work with Meg Thee Stallion and they didn't work together. I feel like this would have been a great project for them to work together on because it sounds like something that he could come up with. The hook is really catchy. I don't really care for it overall, but it's definitely a song that I can see people listening to as they're getting ready for like the club or going out or whatever. Or I feel like I would hear it in the club for sure. I can just see a car full of ratchets blasting this on Miami South Beach. Now the next song is called Broke His Heart. This was given Jeezy with the beats. Like all I could hear was I'm a TRAPSTR. That's what I heard when I heard the song. But that is my favorite Jeezy song, so you know I love this beat. But I feel like she could have left this one. Like we get it, your Poom Poom is great. We get it. You told us last year and the year before and the year before that. The next song is called BAS. And the first line literally says, that ain't bae, he really like my bidet. And I hit that nasty face when I heard that. I said, that's nasty. But I think the one line was like, okay, straight to the point. It was a nasty song. I get it. And again, this is that Jersey sound coming hard, coming crazy. Like I told you, every single one of these artists has that Jersey vibe. Everybody has it now. It's super duper popular. It has like drill on top of it. So y'all think it's drill, but it's really not. And I'm gonna keep saying that because people were really trying to discredit me for what it is, as if I ain't from the East Coast, as if I'm not from Philly, as if I didn't grow up sexy walking, as if I didn't grow up D-macking, as if I didn't grow up with people yelling on the beat, DJ J Hood, DJ Lil Man. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I like this for her Jersey club sound, but I will say the concept of it is exactly like the Did It First song with Ice Spice and Central C. Go back and listen to it and then listen to the Did It First song. It's literally the same exact concept, like exact same. Now the next song is called Otaku Hot Girl. I like the Japanese inserts. I like that she kind of threw that theme in there. I know she's super into anime and Japanese culture, so it makes sense. I do think the hook is a really good bop. I like that Megan raps fast because I rap fast and I catch on because I listen to the bars like I'm really listening. But I kind of understand why people have told me to slow down as I was listening to Megan, because oftentimes a lot of it is like fast. The whole time she's rapping is like, how many words can I get into one bar? And people have said that about me, and I'm like, nah, y'all just not listening. But it's just like, okay, Chioma, not everybody's listening the way how you listen. And I understood that with Megan because I'm gonna pick up on it, but I did like the hook on the song though. Now the next song was called Find Out. This is like a sexy song, but to me, it is a filler song. To me, her filler songs are always very stagnant with the subject matter. Like, have a filler song, cool, but it doesn't always have to be the same thing over and over. And I said that with almost everybody. Their filler songs are like the same song that you already did 1 or 2 times again and again and again, because you know it's your brand and you have to like put that out there a little bit more. I challenge these girls to have like a little bit more versatility overall, not just here and there. And I know they can do it, but I challenge them to do a lot more with that. Like, Meg, we know you're sexy. We know your sex is good. We know your poom poom great. We get it, girl. Okay. Now the next song is called BOA or Boa. The hook was good and the style of the song was a little bit different. Like with the animations, like the womp, 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 and like the tick, 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 tick noise. I do like the onomatopoeias. Now the next song is called Mamushi, which is like her biggest song out right now. Everybody's doing the I'm a star, 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 star. Y'all should have never put me back on camera, because when I get on camera is when I get animated. But I do love the song. The video is interesting, and let me know what you guys think. I've seen some people like really critique it to say that it has a lot of dark energy and very like sinister symbolism. But then I also was reading the comments where people talked about how thought I saw a bug. But I also saw comments where people talked about like the story that she was telling in the video is like Japanese folklore, and she like did a really good job with telling that story. So I don't know. Do y'all think it's dark energy, demonic, and has symbolisms with like negative, scary things? Or do you think it's Japanese folklore and she was just putting her own spin to it? I feel like every single time Megan does like really push the lines of like the whole nudity thing, and I would think that she would want to do something a little bit different. And I think that is why some people critique Megan, because it's kind of like, okay, baby, what we gonna do next though, for real? And it could be said about everybody, but like Megan to me is like the biggest artist out of all of the women on the list. And you could say Ice Spice, but I feel like Ice Spice is just probably most popular. But in terms of like who's the rapper who's been here, who's been making crazy hits, who has really big success, who's been most liked just throughout everything, for the most part it is Megan. So I think people have a higher expectation on her, which is why she does get critiqued a lot. But I just love the whole song, the hook, the slower cadence, the Japanese, even the feature, like it was all great. It was very catchy, and I did like the ad-libs too. But please let me know what y'all think about the video. So it actually is the next day. I'm in the same hair and makeup outfit, so hopefully I still look the same, but I had to take a break because y'all, this video is long, but I told y'all I would give a full in-depth review of each project. So let's continue on with Meg Thee Stallion's album. So the next song she has on there is a song called Accent, and this song is featuring Glorilla. I mean, it makes sense. If you're gonna have a song called Accent, it might as well feature Glorilla, whose accent is very different. It was like a cool talk your ish type of song. I kind of felt like come see, come sa. Like it was just like, okay, it's there, it's there, it's there. The next song is called Paper Together. I feel like this was really different. I felt like I was like in 2006. It's obviously featuring UGK, and UGK is out of Houston. You know, Meg is out of Houston. They were like a group in like the 80s and the 90s, and they also featured Pimp C, who Meg has always been a big fan of. So I don't know, it just gave like a different feel. Like I was back in the day. I kind of liked that. Like it gave a different feel. I felt like I was like in 3rd grade all over again. I think the sound of this song was a good addition just to diversify the project. So the next song is called Spin, and I really like this one because it featured Victoria Monet, who has been killing it lately, and people actually say they look alike, which is like very true. They actually do look pretty similar, and I feel like every album has to have like that R&B vibe. So I was just happy that Meg included a song like this in the project. This one was another one of my favorites on the album. It was giving like private dance for your man, which I liked. So I really did like this record. I do feel like Megan could have been a little bit more sensual. Like not every time it has to be like, like it don't always have to be that. I feel like she could have been a little bit more sensual because the song was like spin around the pole, private dance for your man. And like, I don't know, I just feel like she could have taken a little bit difference with her sound, but the song overall was definitely one of my favorites on the album. The next song is called Downstairs DJ. This was like a sexy filler song, and she really does have a lot of them. She even in the song said that people call it poom poom rap, and that's because it is. Like, in all honesty, it is. But I will say, like, the sexy bars did hit, and she did say, got a real famous cat like my name Doja. That's a good bar. To me, it's just like a freak song, so don't play that one around your kids. The next song is called Miami Blue. I feel like this one was a filler song. It was different with the sound, but I feel like she does say the same stuff in other songs. So it just, next. to me. The next song was called Worthy. I feel like this was actually a really cute song. I really did like the switch up of like a more pop sounding song. So that was interesting because she didn't have too many pop sounding songs, but she did add this one. And she did the change of voice that I've been looking for. So Meg, you can do it. So just do it a little bit more often. When you're on R&B or pop, or maybe even do country, give us a little bit something different, because it does kind of always sound like words and words and words and words. And it's like, she's really good with words. She's a good rapper. But sometimes on those different type of songs, I do want to hear something a little bit different. People have given me the same critique, so now I really do understand what people say. I do feel like the hook could have been better. It was a little bit like redundant. I don't know. But overall, I still thought the song was cute. The next song is called Moody Girl, and this one had like a melodic beat. I felt like the melodic beat was really good with this song, but I just feel like I've heard it before from her somewhere. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I've heard it before, but I feel like she did address things a little bit differently. I kind of like that it was like a little bit more sad. It was like kind of sexy too, but it was kind of sad. So I do think it was a good addition to the album. And then the last song is Cobra, and Cobra was one of the lead singles that she already premiered prior to the album coming out, so we've all really heard it before. But I do have some notes on Cobra. I really do like the rock star beat. I feel like that was kind of different, and we hadn't heard that from her before, so I was really here for it. And honestly, the subject matter is great because you can tell she's actually talking about like real stuff. Like, she was very vulnerable about being depressed and being cheated on, and just kind of like that comeback, because we hadn't heard from Meg in a while. So for her to address like real things, like, I feel like that's why the song was really liked. Some people said that it didn't have like replay value, and maybe it didn't, but I still feel like for the quality of a song, it was a good quality song versus it being like just for the people. I really did think that Cobra was a good end to the album because we started off with Hiss and then we ended with Cobra, so it was like a full circle thing. A lot of these artists do take the time to really curate how each song is going to be placed on the album. Like, placement of a song does matter, and I never really used to think about that, but I do now. So I do think that it was like well done with how the placement of the songs came on there. So overall, I did say that this was a complete project. I just think it had a lot of filler songs. Like, listen to it, like I listened to every album straight through. I didn't like stop and come back. I made sure to listen to it straight through, going to the gym and just listening. And I feel like with Megan's album, she did have a lot of filler songs that I'm like, okay, I've heard this before, or I've heard this sound before. You can say the same thing for kind of some of the others. It just depends on how many filler songs do you want to add in. I don't get like why we get a lot of music thrown at us, but I mean, that's kind of how albums are these days. And I think there's certain artists that can pull off having a lot of songs, but once you get like past 12, I feel like some of them are just there for filler reasons. So I said that I think Meg could have definitely just changed up her cadence on many of the songs, because it does sound like, again, a lot of words are just being thrown at me. And it's like, even if they don't have to be, I feel like they're being thrown at me a lot. I also said that she had good bops, she had good bars, and she did have quite a few songs that were like standout hits. Like, we have Mamushi, we have Hiss, we have Cobra, and those are songs that people keep playing over and over again. I really like that Figaro. I feel like that one should have been a lot more popular. That's my favorite song on the album. But even so, I feel like she did have a lot of songs that were like standalone hits, which is really important, because if you're gonna debut a single or maybe even two, you want to make sure that people actually really like them. So overall, I gave Meg a B-, just because I think the album was great in terms of like, it had so many different songs. I do like the fact that she had different subject matter, but I feel like my critique is that it just had a lot of filler songs, and I feel like there wasn't enough switch up on those filler songs, and then just some of the songs in general. I feel like with the artists these days, we're asking for versatility more than anything. Like, we want to be able to know that you can give us different stuff. So when you give us too much of the same thing just because that's what you're known for, as a music listener, it does get redundant to me. So I'm gonna give Meg Thee Stallion a B- overall. Now, let's move into our last person on the list, which is JT and her project, City Cinderella. This to me was like highly anticipated because this was her first solo project. Obviously, JT was a part of the City Girls. They're no longer together, but I was waiting for JT to come out because when she first dropped No Bars, I was not a fan of No Bars. So I'm like, can you really do this whole solo music thing? Or are you just going to eventually just be by the wayside? But I feel like JT is somebody who really takes her artistry seriously. And you can tell just by the documentary that she has on YouTube, basically the making of the City Cinderella project, that she really, really, really took this seriously. This is going to sound so crazy, but tell me why I got emotional watching that. Like, for some reason, I was so proud of JT because, you know, when everything's against you, she went to jail, she was in prison, she had to bounce back. She's literally the dark-skinned girl in the group, so she didn't get the same recognition as Young Miami, aka Carisha. So for her to kind of beat the odds on a lot of things and still prevail, I was very proud. Like, the documentary actually made me emotional, which is crazy because I cry over like little things, but like I was just so happy for her for some reason. So let's get into her review. So first off, JT starts off with her intro, which is called Hope. And I felt like this was a perfect intro song because I was not expecting it. I was not expecting her to talk about some real topics because we usually know JT to talk about like fun stuff, bops. And you know, she does do that throughout this project. But to start off an album with a song that is very contrary to what people know you for, I was here for it. So she talks about her childhood, she talks about her traumas, and overall it just introduced JT into a different light than what we usually see her in. Now I did take some notes and I feel like she did throw shots at Cardi, saying that she was stuffing bottles up her booty. And again, y'all gonna tell me who it's really about because sometimes I really don't know. But again, I do like the fact that the girls are putting it on wax. I like the fact that they're comfortable to just not be shy and just say how they feel and throw them disses because that's where y'all should be doing it anyway. I mean, like, this is hip hop. So her next song was Brick Talk. This was like a trap song. Now this song doesn't really resonate with me, but I do understand it being a part of the theme of the album. I mean, it's City Cinderella, so it's like you're the pretty girl, you're the, you know, dainty girl, maybe you're very demure, again, like we all been saying, but also you have that trap side to you, you have that hood side, you have that ghetto or urban side. So I feel like it's kind of meshing both of those together. So a song called Brick Talk, where she's literally talking about bricks and pushing weight and moving dope, whatever, it makes sense. It didn't resonate with me, but it did make sense for the album. Her next song was called Oh. I feel like this one was like another trap girl anthem. I'm not from the trap, I'm not from the hood, but I'm from North Philly though. So I mean, I am privy to like an urban environment, but I lived in the suburbs at some point once we moved out of Philly. So like some of this stuff didn't resonate with me, but for musical purposes, I liked listening to it because it gave a different perspective that I'm not used to. But this one was another trap girl anthem, and it did make perfect sense for DJ Khaled to come in. I mean, obviously he's from Miami, JT's from Miami, it made sense. And I also did think that the hook was pretty cool. The next song is called Servin'. I feel like this was definitely a filler song, and it's definitely similar to previous songs that she's done on the project, but just in general as well. And I did critique and I say JT is very repetitive, and that's the one thing I will critique, but I will say that I do love that she always speaks highly of her skin tone. I try to do that in my music as well, and it's just very refreshing as a woman that's not light skinned to see women be confident in their darker complexions, because I feel like we didn't really see that in music at a certain point, like maybe in the 90s and early 2000s, but I am like a early 2000s, mid 2000s, I guess even 20 teens kid. So like it kind of like went away for a little bit. So to see that younger girls, maybe y'all shouldn't be listening to JT, but just to see that they have representation now, I'm always here for it. And I always love that JT promotes her skin tone in a lot of her music. So the next song is called DOD, which stands for Dance on the D. This one was like a freak song, but I actually was here for it. Like I like that like Bollywood type of sound that it gave me. I did really like that. The beat and the ad-libs she ate, even for a freak song. Something about it sounds like a classic song, but just like with a 2024 spin, but I was here for it. Now the next song is called Lemon Pepper, and this song actually features fellow rapper Stunna Girl, and it's like extra lemon pepper on my wings, ho. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care for it, but I don't really hate it either. I do like that her and Stunna Girl collaborated again, and I feel like Stunna Girl's verse was actually pretty good, but to me it wasn't a filler song at all. I see why people like it, I just didn't care for it myself. So the next song is called Swang. I actually really liked Swang because I feel like it was kind of catchy and it made you feel like, huh, like beat your chest, like, okay, swang. This was a nice beat, and I did catch the bars on her dissing Glorilla. She said she's hated by a girl with a man voice, and she said better swang when you see me, ho. So this is definitely a diss response, and y'all know I'm here for people putting it on wax. I feel like this song actually deserved a little bit more push. I liked it. Maybe it's just like my inner gutter girl, but like I did like the song for real. Now the next song is called 90s Baby, and I was so here for the switch up on this one. Like I was like, yes, JT, give me something. Like give me something else. Like I love when the girls can, okay, stick to your roots, but give me something else as well. This was really the switch up that I was looking for. I really did like the beat going back and forth, back and forth. That was really unique. Like when I heard the song, I was like, oh yeah, she's taking this seriously for sure. Like the whole rap thing, because you know, you really tried to have like a distinct beat or just her being creative with a song. Now I did have a critique, and I said that I feel like the subject matter didn't really match the vibe, but the hook was it. Part of it was like talking your talk, but then the other part was like kind of like hair down, good vibe feel. So for me, it was kind of hard to like be concise with that, but I see why she did it. But I did like the hook. It was like, I'm a 90s baby, I'm a gangsta B. I don't take BS, but I could take the D. And I feel like she actually really could have made more of the song. The melody and the sample on the hook, 8, like hands down, best use of a sample that I've heard throughout the entire album. Honestly, all the projects. I love that use of the sample. Maybe it's just because I wish the song was about something else. Like maybe she would have just kept like that whole like 90s vibe to it. But overall, this was definitely like one of my top favorite songs on the album still. Now, the next song is called Uncle Al. This is definitely like a Miami fun party song. Like it definitely gives more of like the city girl vibe, like what she was already doing prior to going solo. And I definitely think it was a good addition for like a more lighthearted song. And I do like the fact that it also included a sample as well. It was just kind of like a catchy signature city girl bop. So, you know, we're going to be here for that. Now, the next song is Sideways. This is my favorite song, hands down, by JT ever on this album, on this project, but just a JT song. Sideways is my song. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The beat, the cadence, the flow, I just love the way how she attacked the song. She definitely was sliding on this one. Like, it'll never be the same, mother, the old days, pretty in the face, but my attitude stank. Either way, this still going to the bank. Like, I don't know, it's just like a girl vibe, like bossy song, and I'm here for that because I always need those songs as a pick-me-up. So that is my favorite song on the project and by JT, period. Now, the next song is Okay. This, to me, was like one of the hooks of the summer. Like, outside of like Kendrick Lamar, They Not Like Us, I feel like for the girls at least, I'm prettier than a mother. Be looking okay. Like that was like the hook of the summer, at least on like TikTok or social media. I really like the song Okay because it was another boss girl type of song. To me, it gave like a classic ATL sound. And I did peep another diss. She had said something about, you know, ate the crab legs, veneers missing line. I guess that's aimed at Cardi. I do feel like it's a song that's gonna get played a lot for like the girlies because it is kind of like a boss B turn up song for sure. Now the next song is JT Coming, and this was a sample of Fat Man Scoop's song Drop, which came out a long time ago, and RIP to him. It's so crazy how a lot of people are just dying, but I feel like her song was a great use of the sample. From this album, this song is super popular right now. I'm hearing it everywhere. And when I heard the hook, I was like, oh yeah, she announcing herself. She's saying that JT's coming. But when I also heard the hook, y'all already know what I'm about to say, I immediately thought of this.
It's commendable, was a ceremony, but now it's a festival. New money now, so you gotta move a decimal. Presidential suite, and it's looking all congressional. I'm so delectable, pull your queen card, cause mine is a collectible. Better mind your business and stay off my genitals. Probably make them high, cause my body's like an edible. Wait, let me stop, cause I'm trying to be professional, damn.
Now, I did have one critique, not necessarily for the song, but I do feel like the song should have been placed higher on the lineup in the album because it kind of sounds more of like an intro song versus it being kind of towards the end. And the song is only like a minute and a half, so I think I would have appreciated it a little bit higher up on the list. But I love the sample. I love that sample because I've used it before, and I felt like this was just like a fun song for JT, and people really like this one. Now, the next song is called All Stars. I definitely feel like this one was a filler song. It kind of sounded like something Lil Uzi would write though. Like it gave me a Uzi vibe. And I don't really think it stands out, but it does show her versatility in that she can make a different sounding song. Now, the next song is called Red Flowers. This is also a filler song, but it is solid. This one was kind of like Come See, Come Sa to me again as well. And then the last song is Star of the Show. Now, I did take some notes on this one. This one was a classic song, so it is kind of like a switch up for JT. Like it sounded like a classic, and I did think it was like the perfect finisher of the project. Like it literally wraps up how she is now the star of the show. And I even wrote here that I can't help to think that this was like a Stick It To You song towards her old city girl member Young Miami, aka Carisha, because it does say like dark skin for the win, things turn like Tina. Ain't it funny now? It's now about Pam. Damn, Gina. And I was like, and I oop, because that was shade. But they said they cool, but I feel like the song said another thing. Like, I don't necessarily think it was a diss, but I do think it was kind of like saying exactly what it is. And I feel like overall, again, it was a perfect way to end off the project. So overall, I have to give JT like the highest rating, probably because I was shocked at how good the album was. I was not expecting much versatility. I think she had some of the deepest things that she said, but also like, I feel like she gave us her personality with the additional creativity with everything that people would want in a female rapper's music album. Of course, there were some filler songs that were like redundant to what we know of, but I feel like there were enough other songs where I'm like, okay, this one's a club banger. This one's a pain song. This one's like a boss turn up song. This one is more of an R&B vibe. And the good thing I will say between Latto and Meg and JT is they all gave that, but I feel like I have to give JT my A because from start to finish, I really did like the project. Like I felt like we could listen to it without really any skips, and it wasn't too long. Like with Latto and Megan, their albums were kind of really long, and maybe it's normal to have 20 plus songs on an album these days, but me, you know, our attention spans do dwindle, and I felt like I could listen to JT's fully through versus the other ones. I was like, okay, I'm trying to get to the finish line. I'm trying to get to the finish line. Literally, I had to be in the gym to finish them, but I give JT an A because I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and I do feel like there is room for improvement, but for a first solo debut project, whether it's an album or an EP, I think she did really well. Now, moving on to the second half of this video, I do want to talk about, well, second half, that was already long, but I did want to kind of wrap up by just talking about like female rap and where it is right now. The first critique I have of female rap is that I think they've let redundancy become like their staple and their cushion, where it's like, okay, we can give you the same exact project in so many different ways, or the same exact song in so many different ways, but because we put a different beat on it, but because we put a different like sound to it, different lyrics, we are regurgitating what we've already given y'all and hoping that you guys will consume it as something differently. And I feel like that's why a lot of people have kind of like tuned away from a lot of artists, because it's kind of like we're not impressed enough. And I've said this so many times on this channel, but it's being shown throughout all of these bodies of work. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to Doechi's album. I'll probably do that next, and if y'all want me to talk about hers, I will. But amongst these 4 projects, I feel like Ice Spice gave the same exact thing again and again and again. So for her to be so popular, it is kind of like irritating that she has all of this popularity, she has the clout, the fame, the money, and the resources to appeal to her fan base and other people who may want a little bit something different from her, but for some reason she just didn't do that. And I think that lack of like taking a risk is seen as kind of disrespectful to listeners, because then it kind of feels like you don't want to appeal to people that would actually like you for other things. And of course you will always have your core fan base, but let's be honest, a lot of these women are one-trick ponies. That doesn't mean that they're one-hit wonders, but they are one-trick ponies, because what we see them for is just a hypersexual icon with nothing more than suggestive bars and like this urban lifestyle. And then when they do give us these little like pockets of like different type of songs or vibes or music, people do take a liking to it, and it's like, okay, do more of it, but like they never actually like go full in. For example, Latto's song Big Energy is considered a pop song. I would say it's like urban pop, and that was like one of her biggest records to date, but it doesn't sound like a usual Latto song. Maybe the subject matter is a little bit suggestive or sexual, but the song doesn't sound like your usual Latto song, and it technically was a commercial success. So you would think that on this album that she would kind of go back in that route and add a little bit more of that, but I still feel like it gave like urban trap. Granted, it is called Sugar Honey Iced Tea. It's an ode to Atlanta, Georgia, and I love the theme, but as a music listener, it's like we're asking for more and more and more versatility, but they're just never giving us enough of it. They're doing a good job with what they know how to do, but it does get boring. Now, another thing with the music industry, especially female rappers, is I feel like there is a lot of music being pushed, and it's not just female rappers, it's definitely them, but it's also R&B artists. Chloe Bailey dropped an album and there was like no rollout or no promotion, because there's so much music and it comes out of nowhere sometimes. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm consuming this and I have to go consume this and I have to go consume this and then this, and then within the next few months or a few weeks sometimes, it's like, oh, here's another song, or here's another project, or here's another collaboration. And you can tell that the music industry is having some monetary issues, because there's no way that you're going to put out all of this music and all of this content, which takes a lot of money to produce, and then hope that people consume it, stream it, buy it, whatever, and then maybe go tour it. And then you're kind of like, okay, that was enough and I want to soak this up, but you don't even have enough time to do that, because now you have to get the next set of stuff that's coming out. And maybe it's because there's a lot more people in the pool. Maybe back 10 years ago, there were only like a few artists, but now we have so many people making music, including myself, where it's like, okay, we're consuming so much. And then because there's more competition, I feel like a lot of these artists are putting more out to compete. And it kind of is just like a big consumption of music. And even though we're consuming a lot, there really isn't like this turnover of quality. And that speaks to the fact that a lot of them didn't really have visuals. I feel like Meg Thee Stallion always does good with visuals. Even Cardi B does great with visuals. And I'm still waiting on that album, Cardi. We gonna wait for you too. For real, you guys are giving us a lot of music to go stream, but you're also not putting in that extra oomph to put out like visuals with your music or do a little bit more. It's like they want to give us not necessarily bare minimum, but bare minimum with like artistry and like the actual music content, but like the accompanying things aren't there. Which brings me to my next point. I feel like female rappers, but really artists in general, are doing a piss poor job with their rollout. JT to me had a great rollout. I feel like the documentary, when she dropped the album cover, and the fact that like we got to see a lot of that build up with her dropping singles here and there, that made me like the project and give it an A, because I saw it from beginning to middle to end, and now she's touring, and I saw that rollout and that build up. But like with Latto, I kind of felt like that was out of the blue. Ice Spice, we highly anticipated it because it was her first debut album, but it's like even the rollout wasn't giving that much. Like, okay, we had controversy and we had mess, but we didn't have like a real ethical or just like a real serious, genuine approach to rolling out the music. I also feel like Megan kind of came out of nowhere with her rollout. Like, I don't know, these girls aren't really giving me like classic artistry rollout. How people used to go and do interviews, and people used to go and do magazine spreads, and people used to go and do like actual like fan engagement things. Nowadays it's like, hey, I'm gonna post this picture and maybe drop a song and maybe do like one little like fancy interview or something interesting, and then boom, here's my project. And the downside to that is like we're not getting enough time to like soak up what's coming and really build that anticipation. And I feel like with female rap in particular, because all of them are kind of saying the same things, we've lost the anticipation for what's next. So it's like I'm looking forward to the next female artist that can come and say, hey, I'm gonna drop this rap freaky song, but I'm also gonna give you this R&B, but I might also give you rock, but then I might also give you like AfroBeats. Like nobody did AfroBeats, and AfroBeats is super popular. Like I would have taken advantage of that if I was any of them. And then give me all of that, but then like your core imagery, like what you're most known for outside of the fact that maybe you are versatile, isn't just sex and sex appeal. And none of these women can say that because they've been deep fried in that basket for so long, to the point where you're not just well done, you are congratulations at this point. So I feel like within the music industry and female rap in general, there's just been a lot of difference in how a lot of these women have been taking it versus what we classically know. And I feel like that's why certain albums from like yesteryear are heralded as what they are, because even if they didn't have the budgets back then or the social media or just any of the factors and resources that the girls have now, they still really hit the ground running with not only the versatility of their music, but how they rolled out the projects and how they competed against other girls. I think female rap right now is kind of like just stuck in like a plateau era. Like it's not really going up or down. Like it's going down a little bit, but I feel like people have come to accept it for what it is. I don't even go in on female rappers as much as I used to, solely for the fact that I've had to accept that this is what society has accepted. We've accepted the Jezebel spirit. We've accepted the fact that most of them are more popular for their looks and their social media and that versus their actual talent, even though some of them are very talented. But I can be honest to say like I do still want more. So I'm looking for the next superstar. Like who is going to emerge and just be that it girl that we know you as an artist, but we also know you as an intellectual, but we also know you as like this talented businesswoman, but we also know that you can like give us everything that the people say they're looking for while still being personable, likable, attentive to detail, a great performer, and not too heavy on just one aspect of their brand imagery. I'm looking for that girl because I feel like although I did like the projects, and let me just say, I don't think the projects were flops except for Ice Spice, I still yearn for more in the female rap industry overall. So y'all, I know this was a long video. It's going to take me forever to edit this one, but thank you for hanging in there if you've made it to the end. So let me know what you think of my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If y'all haven't already, make sure if you're in Philly or any surrounding area, you go get tickets to my meet and greet event. It is going to be on September 21st. And again, we have an after party. I cannot wait to see y'all. And lastly, as usual, make sure you guys to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Number one, Papa, you know you my only one. 2x2, buy me everything under the sun. Twice, say moi, bisou on my body, love that. Yeah, we had tough times, can we rise above that? Your smile's my weakness, your body give me releases. It do my day be increasing, then you bless me like sneezes. I could write a whole thesis when I give you these reasons. Count on, 2, 3, come on, baby, come on. And when